Hello, everyone, and welcome to your class of 2023 sophomore planning meeting. My name is Katie Francis. I am one of the three counselors for the class of 2023, and I have last names A through G. You will hear from the other counselors in just a bit. We're excited to be able to present this information to you. Hopefully, you are watching this with whoever's at home with you, parent, guardian, and you guys can go through this together and maybe have some good conversations afterwards about what the future holds for you here at Hudson High School and beyond. Please have access to some type of electronic device, maybe a phone or your Chromebook, so you can pull up Skyward and then get your transcript. We will be walking through a little bit of a transcript review and what the transcript is made up of, so it would be helpful to have that available. So what we're going to talk about as we plan for your future, just getting to know you, who you are, kind of strengths, areas you maybe need some support in, and maybe some future goals. We'll review your transcript. We'll talk about standardized testing, planning for your future, and give a little bit of a run through of Zello and how it can support you as you navigate next steps, even after your time at high school. And then also summer opportunities. So getting to know you as school counselors, it's super helpful for us to know who you are, kind of areas you're interested in, things you might need support with, things you're excelling at, and just, we want to know what you're about. So filling out this More About Me form right here, you'll click on More About Me, is a great way for us to be able to do that and maybe see some needs that you have. This also helps us in planning, selecting courses with you or planning steps for after high school and ways we can support you as you navigate those things. Know that next fall we will meet as a large group just to overview what the year is going to look like, things you need to be aware of, important dates, testing, another transcript check, we're big on those, future planning, and more. And then in the spring, we'll get together again to talk about registration and course selection for your senior year. Hard to believe that, you're almost halfway done with high school, so we're excited to support you as the next years come up. Parents and guardians know that this information will also be communicated with you. So let's look at your transcript. So what you'll want to do is log into Skyward and then go to your portfolio. And there should be a tab that says transcript or unofficial transcript. And you can pull that up as we talk through things together. It might also be helpful to pull up the course catalog if you'd like to see the grade level requirements and kind of what to expect as we move forward to your junior and senior year. So looking at your ninth grade year, you should have on your transcript 1 credit of English 9, 1 credit of World Connections, which is a social studies credit, 1 credit of biology, 1 credit of math, and again, these might be various levels, a half a credit of Phi Ed 9, a quarter credit for advisory, and then any additional electives you took. So maybe that's a foreign language, or maybe you took some shop or tech classes, art classes, kind of all over the place for those electives. So that should be all on your transcript for ninth grade year. And our recommended total credits by the end of freshman year is 6, and that should be added up at the bottom of that year. And then looking ahead to grade 10, so you only have half of this on there. You have semester 1 listed on there. So what you should see listed as received is 0.5 credit of English 10. Maybe you have a 0.5 credit of human geography or 0.5 credit of AP Hug. And then for AP Hug, you would get the remaining 0.5 credit this semester. Or you might be in human geography now, so that 0.5 credit isn't listed as received yet. You'll have a half a credit of a science elective, so that might be chemistry, forensic science, something like that. 0.5 credit of math. Again, by the end, you'll have 1 full credit. And then you'll have a 0.5 credit of Phi Ed 10 or health. And then 0.25 credit advisory, and then any additional electives. So I'll go back to that 0.5 Phi Ed 10 and health. That's a combo 0.5, so you have 0.25 for health and 0.25 for Phi Ed since they alternate days that they're meeting. So your goal by the end of sophomore year is to have 12 total credits. If for any reason you're missing any of these required courses, or if your credits seem to be a little bit lower than that recommended number, please make an appointment with your counselor and we can talk through what we need to do or what might be missing. So, kind of thinking about future, you guys have already selected your courses, so you've kind of received this information. But just for review, next year for English, you will choose between American Lit, AP Lang, or AP Seminar. For history, you'll have American Studies or AP US History, APUSH. You'll have a math credit, again, varying levels. You'll have a science elective, PE electives, and then other electives that fit your path or maybe your area that you would like to explore. And advisory will be in there as well. If you have any questions about courses you selected for next year, please let us know. Please send us an email, make an appointment, stop down. We're happy to help and talk through anything. So moving to senior year, which I know seems like a long ways away, as you think about planning courses for your senior year, you'll choose again between English. So you might have an English Lit class, which would be a half a year or one semester. AP Research would be full year, or AP Lit and Comp would also be full year. Civics, which is a half year, one semester, or AP Government. Either one of those are required, AP Government being a full year, Civics just being half year. Phi-Ed. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So you might need a 0.25 credit of Phi-Ed, or maybe you decide to take 0.5 credit of Phi-Ed, and we can work with you on what that might look like. You might also choose the opt-out option for Phi-Ed, and that means if you participated in a sport your junior or senior year, or an activity that's been approved by the school board, then you can waive 1/2 credit of Phi-Ed to fulfill your graduation requirements. But that means that you need to fill that half credit spot with a core elective. So something in English, math, science, or social studies would replace that half credit of Phi-Ed. And you'll have a math class, science elective, and then other various electives, or maybe you choose to have a study hall. One thing to remember, 24 credits are required for graduation. So as we do these credit checks, it's important to kind of keep track of where you're at and navigate, okay, do I have room for a study hall in my schedule? Do I have enough credits? Maybe I want to do some work release to get some credits. And those are all things, again, we are happy to talk through with you and help plan.
Hi, Lori Rosini here, and I am one of the counselors for your sophomores. I have letters H through N, and I'm going to cover the next few slides. Aspire 10, we were able to take the 10th grade Aspire this year, and a little bit about that. When you get your scores, which should be late this year or early in the fall, your score sheet will look somewhat like this. It'll show a college readiness benchmark, and that number is in parentheses there. And it'll show whether or not your scores were in the range of ready, close, or need support. And you will get a composite score and a predicted ACT score as well. So that could help inform your need to perhaps look over materials before the ACT and do some studying and some sample tests perhaps, depending on how Aspire 10 comes out for you. If you click on the link below at the bottom of the sheet, ACT Aspire Overview, that'll give you some more information about ACT Aspire and about how to interpret the results. And then speak of the ACT, that'll be coming up in March 2022. It'll be held on a school day. You do not need to do anything to register for that. We get the students registered. And for most students, it's a perfect time to take an ACT and see how it goes for them, and whether or not they would want to take more tests will probably be determined after you see the score. And note in the bold there that ACT now allows you to retake individual tests rather than the whole test, so that's helpful and nice. During the pandemic, just note that many colleges went test optional. So many colleges are doing a holistic review of the student's transcript, their activities, their involvements, rather than just looking at the ACT score or having that be a big part of their application. So ACT has changed. There's just not as much pressure on the students as long as this is in place, so that's nice. A score is still good to send, still good to take the test, because if it's helpful to them, if their GPA isn't as strong, but the ACT was great, that could help them in the long run. So, we will be recommending based on what, their senior year looks like as far as college recommendations, but If it's still test optional, we would recommend that they only send their ACT score if it's over and above what the college average ACT score is. So we'll help guide students on that. Any questions, you can always call us, contact us, stop by, and ask about sending your ACT scores in the future. Earning college credit. So there's many ways to earn college credit while in high school. You can take courses like advanced placement courses, Project Lead the Way, PLTW courses, and dual credit courses here in the building and earn credit based on sometimes there's a minimum grade requirement and some other pieces, some paperwork, but that can help earn credit towards college credit. Another way to earn college credit outside of high school is through two programs: the early college credit program through the Wisconsin system colleges. So a lot of students would use UW River Falls, or the Start College Now, which is through the technical colleges, and a lot of students use WITC and CVTC. So they're permitted to take up to 18 credits at those colleges. They work their schedule here around it. They work with their counselor to make it all work. They have to have a minimum GPA, high level of maturity, high level of responsibility, because we want them to pass these classes. If they don't pass the course, they may have to reimburse the district. Courses taken by high school students become a part of their permanent record. We can get you a lot more information if you're interested. Meet with your counselor or come meet with me specifically. I work on this program here at the high school. So deadlines to consider if you're thinking about taking a class at the technical college level or the college level. March 1st is the deadline for fall semester, and October 1st is the deadline for spring semester. And again, come see us if you're interested, and we'll talk about it and see if it's a good fit for you. And this is just more about the Start College Now program through WITC and CVTC. Just two different names to the programs. The only thing to note with the technical colleges is that credit transfer to a 4-year is not guaranteed, but very possible. So we can't ever say that this specifically will work at the college of their choice if they transfer it to a 4-year. But typically it does work out. And again, same maximum of 18 credits, same deadlines for the Start College Now program. Work-based learning. A lot of our students have jobs and they're interested in doing some work-based learning for credit at the high school. This is something that if parents agree and they do the needed necessary paperwork, they could get credit for on-the-job training. It's called OJT. They have to take a course called customer service along with that, and they can be released up to an hour from school. And youth apprenticeship can be up to 3 hours from school, and that is a specific set of skills they have to be working on in their position in order to get credit for youth apprenticeship. So you'd work with Dr. Leslie B. in our student services office and talk to her about whether or not your job qualifies for and which program, and then we could get that in their schedule and they can get credit for working. Upcoming dates, just note these. We'll be reminding you in our newsletters and often to students in their Google Classroom. The PSAT's coming up next fall. This would be for academically strong juniors. It's the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. That's in October. There'll be a fee to that. Not everybody has to take it. But if you think you would stand a chance at perhaps qualifying, take the exam in October. More information to come in the fall and when to sign up for that. The ASVAB. The ASVAB is a military, almost like a military ACT and required for enlistment, and we offer that in the spring. AP exams, you probably are aware that AP exams are in the spring, and after an AP course, you have to pay a fee and you can take the AP exam, but it's not required. ACT, we talked about that. If you want to register for additional tests or before our state test in March, you'd register at act.org. The SAT, typically students in our area do not take the SAT unless they're looking at colleges that specifically ask for the SAT. So many East Coast colleges will perhaps ask for that, and that certainly is a test they can take, see how they compare to their ACT. So that is definitely something they can do, but optional. College placement exams. Colleges will typically require that you take an English and a math placement exam, and you will take those your senior year, typically towards the spring. Just note that those spots fill up fast. And if you're in the UW system, River Falls offers some dates, but they fill up really fast. So once you decide on your college, or maybe even before, work with your counselor to figure out when to take your college placement exams. They do offer them in the metro area as well. You just might have to drive further if the ones around us fill up fast. And the Compass or AccuPlacer is required for technical college students, and so your college of choice will work with you to take those.
Hi, everyone. The next slide we're going to look at moves into the topic of college and career planning. The high school subscribes to an online program called Zello. That's a great tool for students and family to be able to use in the planning process. Zello addresses, as we show here across the screen, 4 broad topics that are relevant to post-high school planning and lead students step by step through this process and making informed career decisions. Number 1 is building self-awareness and understanding how that can guide career exploration. This includes identifying interests, skills, and preferences through a series of individual surveys and inventories. Exploring options, getting into researching specific careers, specific colleges, looking at keeping it broader, looking at career clusters that seem to be a good fit, following this up with what does the educational pathway look like for that career. The third icon, creating a plan, involves outlining the steps that you need to do to make that your career a reality. And sometimes there are steps that you can take starting in high school to help prepare for that pathway. And that's where course selection in high school can play a relevant role for that. And then finally, the fourth icon, making it real. And this can might be identifying things like doing informational interviews or job shadowing, going on college visits, kind of going further and making some real concrete steps. So to connect to Zello, just go to your class link, and under instructional resources, you click on the Zello icon, and that'll take you in there, and then you have your own login and password that you can use then to access the site. Again, the program overview, it's about building self-awareness, doing career and college investigation or research. There's a college search aspect to it, and honestly, much, much more. Students can do some of this work in their advisory program, but they can also do it on their own. We'd encourage you to do that. Excuse me. Here's a screenshot for a student here, Jessica, and you can see the types of things that she has completed to this point. On the left-hand side, you can see that she completed the Matchmaker inventory, which is an interest survey. She completed the personality style inventory, which is just that. It's looking to have you answer a series of questions, which then kind of puts you into some broad personality categories that can help with narrowing down college and career searches. Something called Mission Complete, which goes further along that line. And you can see she also completed a learning style inventory. In the middle here, you can see the exploring options. If you want to just go straight to, want to skip over some of the inventories at first and just go to careers and be able to click on careers that you have interest in and learn more about them. You can do the same thing with schools. You can do the same things with majors. And you'll notice that there'll be a section within Zello where you can start to save things, where you can start to put together some goals and what your plan might look like as you're going through. So this is a tool that you can use throughout high school and taking it all the way through this process. And the next page is another screenshot, and it is a follow-up to the previous screen. You can see down in the lower left-hand corner that Jess had completed the personality style inventory, and from that identified some broad categories that seem to fit. And this would be, she has some, she's an organizer, a persuader, and a helper. And then based on that information, the program identifies careers that may match somebody with that personality style. This just is just a few of them that have showed up. There's several pages of them that they can look at. But the nice part here is then um, if there are careers that do come up that you would like to learn more information about, all you do is click on that. And once you click on that, it opens you up to a page, and on that page, you're going to get a full description of the career. You're going to learn about the education that's required for it. You're going to get salary information. You're going to learn about the core tasks involved in that career. And you learn about the workplace and what that work site might look like. So I think it's a great opportunity for students, because I think when you're in high school, um, your understanding of what's available out there in the world of work is really limited. And I think that this is a way to be able to learn about some careers that are out there. I think there's over 500 careers that are in this program. And to have that kind of information at your fingertips and, take a few minutes to look at, I think is really helpful. So I encourage you to do that. Um, the one other thing I want to bring up on the career matches is this, having done this with students many, many times throughout the years, is that um, as these matches are created, they're only as good as the job that you've done in filling out some of the surveys that you've taken. So if you can do a good job of being accurate with your interests and being accurate with the way you're answering the questions related to personality, it helps you get better matches. But even with all of that, even with good matches, there's a good chance that the majority of matches that you're going to look like for one reason or another aren't going to be of interest to you. But maybe you identify a handful that you might want to do further exploration on. Is helpful. And I think it's also important to note that sometimes that there are careers that you might very well be interested in but didn't come up as matches, and of course we'd encourage you to explore those also. um, and then you can see that the results of the learning style inventory after high school, and talking about it looks like there was some identification of the level of education that she would want to do. It talks about favorite career clusters down there. So again, lots of good information. Um, Going on to the next step. So this page, we've got some good links to sites that provide good information related to the college planning process. The usnews.com is a good one. Collegeboard.org has a lot of good information on their sites. So both two really comprehensive, reputable sites that I think are good sources of college information in particular. There's a link to tuition-free colleges. There's also a link to FAFSA, and this is a term you're going to become very familiar with in the coming years. And that's the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. And it's where students, when they're seniors and they're going through the college application process, they fill out an online application for financial aid, and it's found on that site. But more than just being the site where you can do the application for financial aid, there's lots of good articles on that site about understanding financial aid, learning the eligibility requirements, learning the terminology that's involved in financial aid, I think, is really helpful. So a great resource. So not one that you have to wait till your senior year, but I think looking at it sooner rather than later, just to learn more about how that process works. Summertime is a great time to look for opportunities to learn more about the world of work and careers through things like job shadows or informational interviews. Great time to go on college visits. School's not necessarily in session. Maybe they have a summer session going, but it's when you do have time to maybe go visit some schools. So we'd encourage you, when you get your those schools narrowed down, I think being able to do a visit during the school year is good too. But I think summertime's a good opportunity. Um, there are camps, enrichment kind of camps or experiences that you can explore, including volunteer experiences. If you want to put a little bit more time into scholarship searches, Summertime is you're not as busy, necessarily as busy as you are during the school year when you've got coursework going too. There's a link where you can click on enrichment ideas. There's 45 or 50 different ideas for programs related to a number of different careers that you could consider doing in the summer. I encourage you to look at that. Volunteer opportunities in the Hudson area, encourage you to do that. Volunteer opportunities are awesome. I remind students, do it for the right reasons. Do it to learn more about yourself, learn more about others, to help people. Now, once having said that, knowing that there are, when you get to the college application and scholarship application process, if you've had some of those experiences, that can be really helpful for you. So that's a good resource for you to look at. Encourage you to talk to your counselor. We really enjoy getting to know you, and we have kind of 3 areas we feel like we can provide some support for you in. One is the one we're talking about today, related to college and careers. We'd enjoy being a partner with you as you're going through this process and be available to answer questions for you. Parents, we're available for you also. We're also meet with students about any academic concerns that they have or questions that they have related to academics, scheduling questions, whatever that might be. But we're also available too for anytime there's a personal or social issue that may come up that it might be helpful for you to talk to somebody about it. We're good people to be able to do that with you. And really just want to emphasize that we really enjoy getting to know you, and hope as the rest of high school goes on that we'll have more opportunities to do that. So here are the counselors for your guys' grade level. Ms. Francis for the beginning of the alphabet, A through G. Ms. Rosini, H through N. And the bald-headed guy, Mr. Dornfeld, here for O through Z. And again, get to know us, and we're going to sure make a good attempt to get to know you guys too. Lastly, if we could just have parents, if you could come click on this link to complete this parent survey, that would be appreciated. We're always wanting to get feedback on what was helpful. If there were things that you thought could be included that would be helpful for you, we would love to hear that. So thank you. Appreciate all of you spending some time today with us and learning more about the high school transition and the transition particularly from high school to after high school. Thank you.